all black women. This is why black people will always be at the bottom. The bottom feeders y'all can't stand together. Miss Willis is doing her job.
It seems to me that if they did date before she hired Eddie Wade, more than two people could produce quantifiable proof of their relationship. Somebody somewhere would have seen them together. It's super easy to criticize people when you haven't walked in their shoes.
The late Bernie Mac stated in a joke, God asked him to tell him one thing that he don't know. He said that he told God. When will black people stick together? He said God couldn't answer that question. This is proof right here. Why we can't stand together.
What kind of Christian are you? What kind of black man are you? You believe that Donald Trump is a better person?
Jason, come on, man. Do you think I'm about to read all this? You can read it yourself, man.
Grace and peace, everybody. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. You know what we're about to do. So, of course, Fani Willis here in Atlanta has been getting a lot of publicity. Last week's fiery deposition on Wednesday and Thursday caused a lot. The news cycle has been owned by Fani Willis and that what's going on. Now, of course, what ends up happening in this situation, in situations like this, is that it becomes polarizing. And what happens is certain people side with one aspect of the story and another group of people side with another. So it might be women side with Fani because she's a woman. It might be conservative side against Fani because she's with the nature of the case. It could be black people side with Fani because they're black. And then, of course, white people would be against Fani because she's black or because the prosecution is white, whatever. It's a whole bunch of foolishness. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I did a video from Jason Whitlock talking about organizing principles, what it is that causes us to galvanize and coalesce around a certain movement and so on and so forth. And I said that skin is the least favorable organizing principle, because it's nothing that you can control. It doesn't depict your character. It doesn't say anything about the kind of moral person that you are. It just says that, hey, you got a lot of melanin. God blessed you with a lot of melanin. That's it. That's all that tells me. It tells me nothing about your character. God gave you double X chromosomes. That's fantastic. But it tells me nothing about your character. And I wanted to come on tonight because I've had some fun pro Fani Willis, and I just played those right there. And we're going to take the time and we're going to look at the last one, because I feel like the last one was literally the absolute best example of the poor, smooth-brained ideology that comes from people that support Fani Willis. Now, you can support Fani Willis because you think she does a great job, and that's perfectly fine. Very few people are even talking about the job that she does. Very few people even know the job that she does. But they have now turned this into, as I like to say, spiritual money laundering, because they're taking the fact that this woman is immoral. She's not representing morality in any way, shape, or form. And they're only turning a blind eye to it because of what she's doing, because of the case that she's involved in. And I think it's comical. So therefore, I'm going to make fun of this by reading this dusty comment. So we got our fanny pack is full of dust because this is a super dusty comment. But let's go ahead and let me give a little bit of context before we jump too far in. I want to talk about why I don't support race loyalty or ethnic loyalty. And there's a lot of reasons why. And most of you all know these things, of course, and realize that, like, for example, that if I'm only support people that look like me, that causes division from people that don't look like me. Like, for example, when I say that I vote black. What about if the black person doesn't represent your ideas, or if the black person has bad character? Oh, it doesn't matter. I just vote black. It causes division amongst myself and other people and so on and so forth. It also pushes stereotypes. If I sit there and say that I only support people that look like me and I must coalesce around people that look like me, does everybody act like me? Well, they can't. So eventually what ends up happening is we have to start acting like each other, or we support stereotypes that we actually don't support. And we've seen this all the time when you talk about the culture. All the time. All the time you see the culture wars. When we have a conversation about black culture, we have a conversation about white culture, it always boils down to stereotypes and things that, of course, At the end of the day, not everybody supports. It blocks empathy. It blocks my ability to engage with people of less melanin or other people groups because I'm only focusing on my people group. Go look at Dr. Umar Johnson. He doesn't understand white people. He doesn't understand any other people group except his. I'm not saying that you should not care about black people, but to care about black people at the extent, dare I say, even at the expense of other people is foolish. And so it's only going to get more and more interesting from there. I'm going to ask you all to hold for a second. There we go. All right. It's only going to get more and more weird from there. Next, it limits the growth of our people, because if all we're doing is working with people that look exactly like us, then we're not going to be able to move forward, because if my people group are not moving past a certain level or are stuck at a certain ideological level, then we can't grow any further because we're all stuck here, because we keep working with and only interacting with the same type of people that, of course, as we just said before, are not growing. But even more than that, and that's just on a basic humanistic level. On a Christian plane, however, our organizing principles are should be around the gospel and around what the fundamentals, the foundational principles of the Christian faith. Help me understand where and how the Christian faith embraces ethnic priorities. I'm listening. I'll wait. Okay, yeah, like I thought. So there's no room for ethnic partiality in the Christian gospel. So all these black folk who are promoting Fani Willis because she's black are wrong just because of the fact that you are now showing ethnic partiality. And you know it's ethnic partiality, and you know it's wrong because if you flip the people groups and had a white person say that, y'all would be up in arms. Therefore, you can't do that. And yes, I did say that. We're still here in 2024, still trying to explain to smooth-brained humans that you don't need to show partiality to other humans. You treat people the way you want to be treated. It's that easy. It's that easy. But let us continue. When we don't do that, and this is inside the Christian church, and there I say the black church, because this is a black church. Fani Willis is a blight. She's a big, giant, fat pimple on the nose of the black church, because the black church keeps turning a blind eye to Fani Willis's sin. Rather than call her to repent, rather than call Nathan Wade to repent, y'all rallying around them, playing block and defense around them, and you're allowing them to not be critiqued. You're allowing them to not be admonished to repent. You're allowing them to actually stay in their sin because you hate them. You hate Fani Willis. If you don't correct Fani Willis and say, Fani, you're wrong, you hate her. If you don't tell Nathan Wade that he's wrong, you hate him. You can't care about him and have the gospel in your heart. You can't. So therefore, you hate him. So now, we're going to read this smooth brain comment. I should have put the dusty comments. I should have ran it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get used to this new platform. I'll try to add it to it when I do the edit on this. But we're going to read this smooth brain comment, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I am not going to play fair. I'm not, because it's dumb. And we as people of the high melanin have to hold each other accountable. We've gone decades and generations without being accountable for our own selves. We're quick to point the finger. We're quick to blame over here, but we don't look at ourselves and say, it's my fault. It's my fault. Sure, there's some external forces, no problem about that. But nobody made Fani get involved in a sexual relationship with a married man. Nobody made Nathan get involved with Fani Willis while he was married. Nobody made Fani hire her boyfriend to work on a very serious case. Nobody made her do that. She did that herself. So the critique needs to start with Fani and end with Fani. The critique needs to start with Nathan and end with Nathan. Y'all smooth-brained idiots that are out here trying to defend and block and cover this poor, wretched, wicked behavior, that's y'all fault. So tonight, I'm going to read this comment because it is so slick brain. I'm like, yo, are you actually thinking what you're saying to me? I don't think that person did. I don't think they were thinking at all. So we are going to pretend like I know how to pull this comment up because I am. Grace and peace, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I do appreciate you all. I got it. I just don't know why I won't pull up. I tell you, man, that's crazy. Now, see, first of all, y'all already know, if you follow Dear Woke Christian, good this person and already committed the cardinal sin. I'm being funny. The cardinal sin. Don't you write me no long comments like this. I don't even read these things, man. Like that's already how you know this person was wrong as two left shoes. Did you think Jason was going to read this? Did you think Dear Woke Christian was going to read this? For real. All right. So I'm going to put it up here and I'm going to read it. Hold on one second. I apologize. All right. I apologize. All right. Sorry about that. Man. All right. Let us go. Let's go. All right. So this, again, I believe that this is a perfect example of the bad ideology, dare I say the poor thinking that has pervaded, that's just infiltrated the Black church, to the point that we will honestly argue about, we will honestly argue for sin. We are honestly now, at this point, we are in a place now where we are arguing for sin in the church. Like, that makes no sense. So let us go. And the comment is exactly like it is on the page right now. I have not done anything to it. So all spelling errors, all grammatical errors are the writers. And so this person wrote on earlier this morning, she said, how is her personal? I don't know, personal what, boo? I don't even know what you're talking about. Personal what? How is her personal what we as Black women stand for? I don't know. What are you talking about? If she was a white, now this is the part, number one, notice how often she is going to deflect it onto another people group. Now, sure, I think you can do that every now and then, just draw the correlation. Be like, hey, if a white person did this, it'd be a different outcome. That's how you know it's partiality. However, she does it all the time. This is like a staple of this conversation. So let's continue. If she was a white woman or man, neither one would be on trial, nor would anyone have anything to say. That is a bold-faced, unequivocal lie. And you know that. There are countless examples of white men and white women engaged in consensual relationships outside of their marriage or inside of their marriage, or outside of their marriage, or with other consenting adults that have gotten fired, that have gotten fined, so on and so forth. Miss me with that dumb stuff. Trisha Murphy, miss me. There's entirely too many. There's entirely too many examples of it. But let us continue. She says, I support Miss Willis for standing up for herself. So she feels that Willis stood up for herself. What did she stand up for herself for should be a question. Was she being harassed? Was she being treated with racism? No, she was being called on the carpet and held accountable because of what? That's right, her sexual improprieties, which nobody has called her, nobody made her do. Let us continue. Because I'm 1,000% sure. Ma'am, there's no such thing as 1,000%. So your math is bad, your grammar is bad. I'm not understanding why in the world you wasted your time commenting to me. Why did you do that? Why? Did you think that this was going to go better? Let us continue. I'm 1,000% sure that it's a lot of white men and women. Again, she's projecting out there to other white people groups. Why? Why are we bringing in other people groups? We're talking about a Black man and a Black woman. What's white people got to do with it? Let us continue. Having sex together behind closed doors. Sure, there's a lot of married men and women that are engaging in the marital act. What is your point? What does that have to do with it? She's making it sound as if Fani Willis is being called on the carpet because she had a relationship with Nathan Wade. That is not it. And she knows that. And I'll prove it in a second. In a racist state, you will see Black women, men have to settle for less as the white people with less education. I have no idea what she's talking about. What racist state is she talking about? What state is she talking about where white men, and I'm sorry, where black men and black women have to settle for less as white people with less education? What does that mean? Because Fani Willis is what is she settling less for? She is the top law enforcement officer in the state of Georgia. She has achieved a wonderful position. Help me understand. Tell me, what is it? Literally, her next steps could have been either on the national stage, she could have been the governor, she could have moved into lots of different positions. What are you talking about, ma'am? What are you talking about? Let us continue. Y'all acting like, here we go. Y'all acting like Mrs. Willis, which, by the way, she's not Mrs. because she's divorced, so she's not a Mrs., but we will continue, is a criminal and Trump is the victim. I have no idea. Notice, so far, I have not mentioned that man's name. I've not mentioned 45's name. And guess what? I will only mention it as she mentions it. I've never mentioned the man's name. Why is it leftists you'll notice this in all of the comments. They keep bringing up 45. They keep bringing them up. Why? Leave that alone. If you leave that alone, like that has nothing to do literally with this case. The case is involving whether or not she's disqualified to be the prosecuting attorney on this case. That's all that matters, whether or not she's a prosecuting attorney on this case. What the case is actually irrelevant. It's her. But I continue. And Trump is the victim. Trump going for everything he can call dirt on those who brought charges against him to get his cases dismissed. Trump is guilty as charged and shouldn't be allowed to work in the government in no government place. Let me just stop for a second. Why is it that when we don't like the person, guilty until proven innocent becomes the standard rather than innocent until proven guilty, which every man and woman experiences that privilege of saying I'm innocent until I've been proven guilty? Why is it only when you don't like the person that you don't care? You don't care about anything. They're guilty because I say it. They're guilty because I want them to go to jail. I don't like the person, so therefore they're guilty. Like, why do we do that? And again, this person is professing to be a Christian, so therein is part of the problem as well. Let us continue. Trump walk around as if he is above the law and untouchable. It's past time for him to go to prison. Okay, who in the world was bringing up Trump in this discussion? Not me. I maybe have mentioned him twice in any of my videos. Not many, but definitely she didn't mention him way more than I did. But let us continue. Y'all all over Mrs. Willis, which again, she's not married, so she's not Mrs. anything. She misses being in order, but let's continue. But overlooking Trump cheated on his wives and paid the woman hush money. As the leader of America, he gave security codes to China and Russia on top of causing the January 6th riots and refused to leave the White House peacefully. It's sad. Now, again, I have no idea how any of that has to do anything with Fani. I'm just wondering. It's sad when your own race, here we go. Because remember, you as a black person, you are not able to have a divergent thought or think something different than what other people, than the majority of the group thinks. So it doesn't matter. If you want sugar on your grits, you can't, because the majority group wants butter and salt and pepper. So therefore you can't have a different thought. And watch what she says. It's sad when your own race tried to throw you under a bus. And for the record, she wasn't the reason why Mr. Wade's marriage ended. He was cheating long before her and Mrs. Wade made that clear. I don't think I said anything about it. I just said Nathan was married, and he was still married. So I think he's married at this point now. The divorce has not gone through. So you're not divorcing, partially married. You are married, you are divorced. That's it. So I don't think anybody said that. I don't think if I said that, then maybe I'll apologize, but I don't think I said that. And I don't think that's the biggest issue on this floor. Let us continue. Let's go. Y'all just on here looking for reasons to put her down. No, Fani put herself down. Fani did a great job of giving her own self reasons to be put down. I didn't put her down at all. I didn't, but I'll continue. If this was a white woman, again, you're projecting some kind of racial knowledge. You're like Johnny Carson, you already know everything about everybody. If this was a white woman, y'all would be on her side. Really? How do you know that? How do you know that? I'm just listening. How do you know that? If a white woman was prosecuting Barack Obama and she was as wrong as today is Wednesday, I would be saying the exact same thing. I'm sorry, help me understand how you know what I would be doing. I'm listening. I didn't think so. Let us continue. We as black women have to be strong and stand up for ourselves because some black people only want to see you fail. Let me just ask a question. What is Fani standing strong about? What is she standing on business about? About her affair and lying in order to keep that affair going. That's got nothing to do with her business, nothing to do with her work, nothing to do with her ability to do the job, not a thing. It's everything to do with the fact that Fani cannot keep her fanny at her home, wherever her home was, the condo or the apartment or wherever she ran away from. I don't care. I'm sorry, ma'am, you was with a married man. What do you want us to do? But again, why is the Christian church, the black Christian church, giving her duck and cover for this? Because I promise you, she's actually already said it in this comment that she's already delineated Trump's sins. Is she doing the same thing about Fani's? She literally is covering over Fani's sins, which, by the way, seem to be a lot like what she said Trump did. I just think that's adorable because she said Trump is guilty and shouldn't be allowed to work in government no more. He walked around here like he's untouchable. Where's the guy? I'm trying to find it. He cheated on his wives. Fani cheated on Nathan's wife because Nathan is still married and paid the woman hush money. The argument is that Nathan was paid far more than anybody else. That was his hush money. So I think she's talking about the same person. I don't know about this China codes and Russia codes, which it seems interesting to me as altogether. But boy, it sounds a lot like what she's saying is like what Fani did. Let's go. Because people want to see you fail. Would y'all be supportive? Would y'all have supported her if she came to the courtroom crying? I don't know. I don't know. I don't support her now. Why would I support her if she was crying? I don't understand. And when did a real friend speak out toward you to make you look bad? I think a real friend should be honorable and tell you that, again, this woman professed to be a Christian. Why would you I don't want my friend to lie on me or to lie for me, because that sounds a lot like what she wants her friend, Fani's friend, to have done, which is to not be honest, to lie, because that would have been perjury, which we saw that quite a bit on that stand. So she wanted that woman to perjure herself and put herself in a predicament in order to protect Fani and Nathan? Got it. Okay, not a problem. I got you. That's not a real friend. That's your enemy waiting to kick you when you're down. How about rather than that, how about I respect my friend? I have good friends and I recognize that, man, I don't want to put them in a pickle. I am not going to do things that's going to cause my friends to have to consider, to think about lying for me. How about that? How about that? Let us continue. Kick you when you down. Some of you calling her a liar, et cetera, et cetera. But some of you know how other women get jealous and flip all because they want your job. Who in the world is she talking about? Who is she talking about? I love this. I said what I said. What does that mean? What does that mean? I said what I said. You said a lot and a lot of it was wrong. What does that mean? These people are insufferable. But got it. All right. I'll figure out how to get that. I was trying to get that side by side together, but I was having a horrible time with it. I think it's okay. But it's such a huge comment anyway. You had to see it. I'm like, yo, don't write anything like that because I'm not going to read it. I'm not. But again, I want to point out my issue here is not with Fani. My issue is with the black church that was willing to duck and to cover, to provide a place for her to be platformed, and she was completely and totally wrong. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with the work that she was doing. It has everything to do with the woman that she is. That's it. That is it. I don't know where y'all keep getting this idea that people only care about the case that she's involved in. Even she had to bring the case in, because I noticed that the attorneys asking questions never brought that stuff up. Fani and Nathan and her dad, they're the only ones that brought that kind of stuff up into the equation. Nobody brought up that she was black. Nobody brought up that they were white. Nobody brought up any of that stuff except Fani, because that's all she has. She has nothing else to argue, nothing else to stand on. So she uses her opportunity to try to position herself as a black woman against the wicked, evil machine. Oh, the first black, this, that, and the other against these mean, evil, bad people. It's just dumb. It's dumb. It doesn't work. And ethnic partiality doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't benefit us as a people. It doesn't benefit people outside of that group. It doesn't. It just continues to keep the machine of craziness going, and nobody benefits in the end. So that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in today for